Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Saratoga Racecourse here on Saturday. It is the 17th of August, 2024. I'm going to look at the stakes races on the program, including the Alabama, but before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and I mean it around the world. Let's look at the stakes action, races 9 and 10. The ninth race from Saratoga, it is the Lake Placid Stakes. It's a grade 2 event going for a purse of $200,000, race for 3-year-old fillies. We have a field of 13 horses entered. 12 and 13 are MTOs, so 11 will head to the inner turf course. The distance of ground of 1,700 meters, or a mile and 1/16 on the inner turf course. The rails are down this week on the inner turf course. Next week with the big race, I'm shocked that they weren't down next weekend with the the sword dancer being run on this turf course. What else is the big race next weekend? Like Boston Spa, something like that. But next week they're up at 9 feet, but that's for another day. But my top selection here in the Lake Placid, I'm going to go with the number 7 horse, She Feels Pretty. 7-5-110 for me in the superfecta. 7-5-110 super. Top selection 7 horse, She Feels Pretty. This 3-year-old filly by Caraconite here. Sure DeVoe trains. John Velasquez picks up the mount. The horse's most recent outing came at Aqueduct, mile 3/16 in the outer in the Belmont Oaks Invitational. She finished third by 3/4 in length and is a 95 cents to the dollar favorite. From a bit of a wide trip, dueling, seeing some good fraction on the front end, she just kind of yielded late. I think cutting back a furlong to a mile 16th on a very speed or front runner orientated turf course, I think this horse is going to be a little bit in a better spot to win today. The winner, Cinderella Dreams for Godolphin, was the next star winner, so got beat by a decent horse that day. 2 back in the Hilltop at Pimlico on a very soft, on the softer side of good turf course at Pimlico. 1 mile on the Hilltop, 17th of May. She won by 5 3/4 lengths that day, and she sat back early, a little bit wide late, but she really took off clear. I thought that was a very strong run for her that day. And then, with also being her first start since Brews Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf at Santa Anita, a mile and 3rd of November. She finished third by a half a length that day. She had a very wide trip that day, and she nearly got to the winner that day, but she just kind of got overtaken late, but she ran her heart out with an 84 buyer, just as good as the race before, which was an Atalma at Woodbine, a mile on the EP Taylor lawn, winning by 4 1/4 lengths that day. Not the best beginnings and was stupidly wide, but she had a great turn of foot to win that day. Has been training well since the last race. I think she's going to benefit with a cut back and trip. I'm going to take her here 2-1. I think the 5 horse here, Spalade, is that what you say? This 3-year-old filly by More Than Ready for Chad Brown and Frankie Dettori. I think this horse could win, stepping up some class here. The one in the Boston and the Boiling Springs at Monmouth over the mile 16th was impressive, winning by 1.5 lengths that day from a tracking trip. She really took off clear with the blinkers. That really concentrated her that day. She ran here on the 8th of June prior to that, where she didn't get out of the gate so clear over about a mile trip, where she finished 4th by 4 3/4 lengths, and she never really concentrated on the run. And then prior to that at Aqueduct in early May, a mile 16th on the inner and a main special weight, winning by 1.5 lengths that day. She really took off clear. I thought that was a very strong run. She's run some decent buyers, back to a stakes quality field, or come to a stakes quality field again. At 12-1, I think she could get a piece of it. Even the 1 horse Deep Satin for Sherry DeVoe and Jose, was a winner here on the 14th of July, going mile 16th and Melling quite easily by 3 lengths. The race before it in Kentucky weren't bad at all in defeat, where she was really gaining a lot of ground. Bit of a versatile type, could set the pace or come from behind. At 10-1, I'll give this horse a shot on the ticket. But to recount my selection for the 9th from Saratoga now, it's the Lake Placid. Going to take the 7 horse She Feels Pretty. Give kudos to the 5 horse Spalade and the 1 horse Deep Satin. 7-5-110 super, 7-5-1 in the multi-race. The feature 10th race from Saratoga, one of the premier races of the summer from the spot. It is the Alabama Stakes. It's a grade 1 event going for a purse of $600,000, race for 3-year-old fillies. Field of 8 horses going 2,000 meters or a mile and a quarter on the main track. Going to take the 1 horse Intricate as a top selection. 1-6-7-4 for me in the superfecta. 1-6-7-4 super. Top selection of 1 horse Intricate. This 3-year-old filly by Gunrunner here. Brendan Walsh trains. Tyler Gaffleone picks up the mount. The horse's most recent outing came at Saratoga on the 20th of July. A mile 8th in the Coaching Club American Oaks, where she finished third by 8.5 lengths. Nobody was catching Torpedo Anna that day, who really took off clear. This horse just kind of sat back early and just wasn't getting into it. I think coming to a mile and a quarter where this horse could be a little bit more into it. She's bred for the trip through and through. I think she could run a decently better race than she did the last time out. She ran the Monomoy Girl Churchill prior to that on mile 16th on the 15th of June, and she finished second by 3/4 length that day, and she sat back early most of the race, was stupidly wide in lane, but she was gaining that day. If the race was a mile and 1/8, she probably would have made the finish a little bit more interesting than she did, but not a bad race in defeat that day. And then the Fairgrounds Oaks at the Fairgrounds, mile 16th, 23rd of March. She finished 5th by 11.5 lengths that day, and she was just wide, and she just couldn't keep up that day. Maybe she needed the race there. She won. She had a very good place before then, the Rachel Alexandra at the fairgrounds, where she was gaining behind Tarifa that day. Her arterial form wasn't bad at all. I think she's been crying out for a mile and a quarter. She's going to get it. She's training quite well going into this one. I'm going to give her a shot on the ticket. I think the 6-horse Miss Justified for Tom Pletcher and Flavian can win also. Was a winner quite nicely in the Wilton Stakes over the Wilson Mile here. Won by length that day, closing up from nowhere from the inside. I thought that was a very good race. Prior to over the Upshall 100 at Churchill over the bottom mile, she won by 2 1/4 lengths, and basically on the front end again, she ran a terrific race. Since coming to the Pletcher's barn, she's really improved a lot. She's training well. Another horse that I think could get the mile and a quarter. I'll use her on the ticket. Watch out for the 7-horse Candide also. Had a decent place behind Torpedo Anna in the coaching club a few weeks ago. And the win of the Lady Secret, okay, it was against the lesser quality horses, but she really came home quite nicely with a 99 by her. Her arterial form wasn't bad at all last year, by having a great third place finish in the Ashland. I thought that was her best race that day. Third place finish in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies race. Winning the Ashland before that was quite impressive also. But coming here today, 7-5, she could win. I would use her on the ticket, but I think she's going to be very overbet. I think you can find a price in this one. But to recount my selection for the 10th from Saratoga, it is the Alabama Stakes. Going to take the 1-horse Intricate. Give kudos to the 6-horse Miss Justified and the 7-horse Candide. 1674 Super, 167 in the multi race. That being said, good luck to all. Please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5. Good luck everyone.